know you said earlier this week that you didn't need quite a shootout to try and beat the crunch, that you wanted to be able to hold them down, but that's what you got tonight. Kind of a crazy barn burner. Did you need this sort of attacking moment to kind of prove it to yourselves that you're still in it?
I think we needed to prove it to ourselves. Our guys haven't wavered. This team, especially this core group through this year, but a lot of these core guys, even some of the guys out of the lineup right now, these core guys went through a lot the last 2 years. A lot of adversity, a lot of lineups that are depleted and things of that nature. And this group has always had a real resilience and a fighting spirit and a collectiveness to them. So it doesn't guarantee a win, but I felt pretty strongly about the way we were going to play. I thought we were excellent defensively for the first 40 minutes. Excellent. They had very few scoring chances in the first 40 minutes, and that's a really good team. And then the third period just went completely sideways for both teams. Yeah.
There were a lot of, I think, questions about the refereeing tonight, but I know you were really fired up about one call that seemed to go and then was rescinded.
Was probably the right call. I just didn't like that. I thought at that point, I found it odd at that point in the game that the power plays were like 4-1 for them, and yet we had the puck the great majority of the time, and I thought there was infractions that probably were warranted. So, but that's officiating. They got a hard job, and I respect the job they do.
So they confer and say, he stepped on the puck. It's really not a trip.
Sure, let's go with sure. Yeah, let's go with sure. They can.
Another call, though, that for 2 periods, both teams could have 5 power plays.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the third period, we're going to call things that we didn't call earlier. It was that I found weird.
Yeah, that's hard. And again, I have a ton of respect for the officials. They have a very difficult job. It was an emotional game. It was a physical game. The crowd was wild, right? So they have a hard job too. So, but yeah, you want. It is hard when the players think the standard's this, and then it gets tighter later in the game, and that led to probably a lot of penalties in the third period.
You said safe is death.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think your team responded?
Maybe that would have been preferred. I've coached a long time, and the regrets you have in games like this is when your team plays tight and they play tentative and they play trying not to lose instead of trying to win. Those are things I've regretted in my career, making the team feel that way through my messaging or whatever it is. And I thought that the guys have had a really good week. We got really, we were, frustrated and a little down after the last weekend. And I just liked our response all week, the way they came to the meetings, the way they came to practice. And I thought they responded really well. In terms of, we played an attacking game tonight, which is when we're at our best, both offensively and defensively.
This game, this team, to be up 1-0, give it up. 2-1, give it up. 4-2, give it up. And to still pick yourself up off the ice and continue to battle.
It's fabulous. That's, as a coach, that's what you want to have. Whether you win the last game of the season or not, whatever it takes you, you love a group that doesn't give in and they fight for each other, and that's led so much by our captain. He's just such a special human, and we're just lucky to have him. He was excellent tonight.
Is it what they did in Syracuse that prevented you from doing it, or what you didn't do?
I think you got to start with them. They're an excellent defensive team. Right? That is an excellent defensive team. Myers and Carrick are, that could easily, you could argue easily that's the top defensive pairing in the American Hockey League. And they're very structured. They're very well coached. He's a really good coach. And there's not a lot of systematic things that you can take advantage of against them. So I think that a lot of it was what they did, and some of it is what we could do better in taking advantage of certain situations. And I think we came up with a good plan this week to work on those things, and I think our guys really bought into attacking those things.
And scores a winner.
Yeah. When you have anybody out of your lineup this time of year hurts, right? And I've said this before. Brendan Warren not being in our lineup hurts because he sets the tone for us physically and with our forecheck. But when you're down two of your top three centers with Byro and Kulik, that's difficult. That's challenging, and to have him back tonight and then for him to deliver in a big moment. I like the 5-on-3. They had a couple good looks early. It didn't go in. It was getting later. We got a lot of young players on the ice in that moment. A lot of first-year, second-year pros. And I thought they kept their composure. They didn't start forcing things and really worked it for the shot we needed to have.
Do you have anything on Brett Murray playing through a bad pinch like mid-game?
The shot, I think it was, or he got hit with a puck, but he's fine. Yeah, he's fine, and I thought he was a beast tonight.
That your best players need to be your best players. Was it nice to see tonight, top to bottom, your best players absolutely were your best players tonight?
Yeah, important. Especially when you have guys out that are other best players, right? Your best at this time of the year, that's how you win. I mean, their best players were excellent. I mean, Reifers and Barbelet were all over the score sheet tonight. So, that is critical. Last weekend, Myers and Carrick and Barbelet and Reifers were probably a little better than us. So, and they were still excellent tonight. That's arguably the best line in the league. But our go-to guys really stepped up and delivered tonight, which was great.
His first home game today, how was it after he gets thrown right into the fire in game 2 and now he's at home for the first time?
Pretty good. Like that first game in pro hockey on the road in front of 6,000 fans in Syracuse, physical game. I mean, this is real playoff hockey. It's not just playoff hockey. I mean, it's fast, it's physical, there's not a lot of space out there. And just very poised, very composed, defends hard, transitions the puck well. You can see these are big moments in his career, but you can see that he's the captain of a team that just won a national championship, and he's just played in probably bigger moments. And he had a sense of calm about him, which is unusual in your first and second game of pro hockey.
Saw you change him up a couple times. You like in particular just yet?
Was when Ciccone was in the box for 10, and I thought Davies and Ciccone were really good pair for us tonight. So at that point you're down to 5, and those guys are jumbling. But I think him and Barkowski were pretty good together. Bart's a nice physical veteran presence, and Metza's a really good puck mover.
Emerged the way he has. I mean, it was noticeable all night. It felt like he was going to score, and then he did. Again, he scored a huge goal.
I think some of it is simply opportunity. We signed him 2 years ago because Jason and our scouts and myself, because I offered him a scholarship about 10 years ago or whatever it was, knew how good of a player he was. Knew he was an elite college player. Not a good one. Like, he was elite. One of the best players in the country. And for whatever reason, he didn't get a lot of opportunity in the Islanders organization in his first couple years of pro. Whether that was opportunity or he didn't play well, who knows? And then last year was up and down with some injuries, but we brought him back for a reason. Because we believe there's a real hockey player in there. And with some of the injuries and situations we've had this year, he's had more opportunity to show what I think he's always believed he is.
Series, your rookies, you don't really know what to expect out of them. They get an elimination game tonight. Kulik scores late. Roseanne starts you off. What did you see from them? What good signs does this kind of show for the future?
It's weird because he had a lot of days in between games, and so he had moments to a little more time to have individual meetings with some of the guys we needed to kind of step their game up, whether those are older guys or younger guys. And we met with I met with Rosie. Roseanne didn't perform very well in Syracuse. Physical team, hard building, and first games in playoff games in pro hockey. And he went through struggles last year, which happens. Jack Quinn went through struggles in the playoffs last year. But I thought his response tonight was awesome. We need him. And that's what I said to him. He's going to be out there. That's where he's a go-to guy, even though he's only 19 years old. So I thought Isak's response tonight was awesome. I thought he was competitive on the puck. I thought he made a lot of plays. He could have been on the sheet even more. And then I thought Cooley, we talked to him this week about what did he learn just by watching. And that was important because you can learn things by just being down and watching what your teammates are going through. And he definitely saw the uptick in physicality and the less time and space. And I thought he accounted very well for himself in his first playoff game.
Playoffs is can be a roller coaster. Obviously, last weekend you guys picked yourself back up. How do you make sure that there's not a dip with a day off and going into still an elimination game on Sunday?
I think with the day off, it's okay if there's a little dip, right? It's for the day off. And we'll come in, we'll meet, and we'll lay out a bit of a game plan for Sunday. And then, I think that being an afternoon game, sometimes that's nice. You just wake up and play instead of sitting around and think about it all day. So, we won't have a dip. Now, that doesn't guarantee anything. We're playing an excellent hockey team, and we got to fight for everything we can get against them. But I know that this group will be ready on Sunday.
Here tonight, I mean, how big of an assist was that?
It's huge. It's huge.
Awesome. The crowd was amazing. We talked about it. The guys that played here in the playoffs last year, they lived it. You could feel it. And that was one thing I said before the game. Bring the fans into the fight early and often. And how do you do that? You score goals, you get scoring chances, you block shots. We had some great blocks tonight. You finish some big hits, you fight. Those are things that rile the crowd up, and you brings them into the fight with you. And they were fabulous for us tonight.